Stardew Valley 1.6 added a plethora of endgame content, most of which is contained in the brand new mastery system. This will be a kinda spoiler-free-ish video where we briefly talk about all the new items and benefits. I'll have more in-depth videos for each mastery in the future. To unlock mastery, you'll need to hit level 10 in all 5 skills. For my personal playthrough, this ended up being around mid-spring of year 2, shortly after I unlocked Ginger Island. That isn't going to be the case for everyone, depending on your playstyle. I'm just giving you an idea of what point in the game it'll be available. Once you've done this, a door in Cindersap Forest will be unlocked. It's hinted at in secret note number 27. It's sneakily hidden behind this tree near the sewers, right around where you find Robin's lost axe. Upon entering, you can find this note on the ground. It reads, "Dear Pesky," my dear player's name. If you're reading this note, you've found the secret room I've prepared for you. Within these walls are tips, recipes, and even some of my most cherished tools. All the very best from the many happy years I spent in the valley. By coming this far, you've proven that you possess the skill and wisdom to make good use of these powerful secrets. I hope my discoveries help you in your journey to making your farm name a shining star of the whole world. Make me proud. From Grandpa. What lies before you in this room are 5 paths of mastery, which you will unlock one after the other after hitting certain thresholds of experience. Your first unlock is at 10,000 experience, with each goal afterwards increasing by 5,000, so 15 and then 20,000 and 25,000, so on and so forth. To get all 5 masteries, you're going to have to earn 100,000 experience altogether. To put it into perspective, to reach level 10 in any given skill, you need 15,000 experience. So at this point, you've already gotten to at least 75,000 total. Unfortunately, it doesn't start counting until the moment you get level 10 in your last skill. I should also mention, it doesn't matter what skill you get the experience in. All experience goes into the same lump sum. Let's briefly go over all the masteries so you know what you have choices of. Farming gives you an iridium scythe that can harvest crops. The Statue of Blessings recipe, which is very expensive, giving you a random blessing every day. And you can now find animal crackers that double an animal's produce. Mining gives you the Statue of the Dwarf King recipe. Similar to the Statue of Blessings, it gives you a random mining-related power each day, but this time you can choose one of 2 options. The Heavy Furnace recipe, which smelts 5 bars at a time with a reduced coal cost, and gem rocks will now drop double gems. For foraging, you get the Mythic Tree Seed recipe, growing a new tree that can be tapped for a new product. You get the Treasure Totem recipe, which uses that new product. It spawns a bunch of artifact spots when used. And you can now find golden mystery boxes, which is a new type of geode. In Fishing Mastery, you get the Advanced Iridium Rod that allows you to use 2 bobbers at once. The Challenge Bait recipe, which allows you to catch 3 fish at once with a perfect catch at the risk of losing it completely if the fish leaves the fishing bar 3 times. And you can now find golden fishing chests. They're the same as regular fishing chests, but with rarer items. Finally, for combat, you unlock trinkets, which are a new equipment slot giving you a bunch of new abilities. We'll go over them in the video. There's a lot to talk about there. You get the Anvil recipe, which allows you to reroll the stats of those trinkets, and the Mini Forge, which is a mobile forge from the volcano. So you may be wondering, what's the best way to get all of that experience? For most players, I think you'll probably just want to continue playing the way you always have. Almost every action gives you some form of experience, but if you're looking for specifics, here's a couple of things you could do. For farming, it's no surprise that Starfruit go crazy for this, although they only give half the amount of experience they normally give when put towards mastery, and that goes for any crops that you harvest. So Starfruit, which would normally give 43 farming experience, now give 21.5. Even with that though, they're still really good. Unfortunately, that half experience gain extends to animals as well. It's not just crops, so coops and barns are really not good at all for getting experience. The only time I would recommend going for foraging experience is during the Green Rain Day in summer. These large clumps of weeds give you 15 experience each when cut, And the abundance of trees makes it easy to get them for experience as well. Each tree that's cut down gives 13 experience. If you head to the secret woods, the 6 stumps there will give you 150 experience altogether each day. And of course, any stumps you cut down on your farm if you're playing on the forest farm will also give you 25 experience. Fishing is surprisingly good for getting experience, since higher quality fish give more experience. Experience is starting to not sound like a real word. Harder fish also give more experience, but a perfect catch gives a huge 2.4 times multiplier. So what you want to do is find a balance between difficulty and being able to pull off perfect catches consistently. On the Stardew Wiki, you can sort out all the fish by difficulty to try and pin one down. Once you find your sweet spot, you can use targeted bait to catch that fish as much as you can. Personally, when I used this method, I went for blue discus, as they can be caught in any season, and they also sell for a good amount of gold. My bobber setup was 2 cork bobbers, just to make sure that they absolutely didn't escape. If I get a perfect catch, the fish will be iridium quality anyway, so I didn't have to use quality bobbers. Also, be aware that if you catch any extra fish from using wild bait or challenge bait, that does not contribute to the experience, so you have no reason not to use the targeted bait. Now, if I were to put one method of getting experience above all of the others, it would have to be a deep dive into the Skull Cavern for a couple of reasons. First, every iridium node you break gives 50 experience. And the deeper you go, the more iridium nodes you'll find. So doing the classic plan of just building up a ton of jade, trading them all for staircases at the Desert Trader on Sunday, and then immediately going as deep as you can, still works great. Make sure you bring as many bombs as you can so that you can break as many rocks as you can. Exploding next to a good clump of iridium nodes could give you hundreds of experience all at once. Anytime you see any gem node, they're always worth going for. Diamond nodes give 150 experience each. Ruby and emeralds give 80, aquamarine and jade gives 40 experience, and amethyst and topaz gives 16, which is still a lot more than your average rock. Any gold nodes you find are still worth going for, they're 18 experience each. And if you happen to go during the desert festival, calico egg nodes give 50 experience each. Don't go out of your way to fight monsters, they give like no experience compared to the rocks, which is weird in my opinion, but whatever. The method takes a lot of setup, but it blows everything else out of the water. And one last method, if the bookseller is ever in town, go in and check to see if they have the Book of Stars for sale. It has a 25% chance to appear. It costs 15,000 gold. Maybe that's a lot for you, maybe it's not. If it's not, using it will give you 250 experience in every skill, which is 1,250 total. And while we're on the topic of books, remember that reading any books that you've already read before will give you 250 experience in that skill. So if you find any of them, just pop them. If you're ever wondering where you're sitting at for mastery experience, go onto your skills tab, and that's what that giant bar is at the bottom. It'll show you the number of experience you have, and on the right it'll show you how many mastery levels you've already hit. And while you're here, don't forget to mash the Junimo on the left if you haven't already, and if you chose Joja, I'm not going to shame you or anything, but I think the lack of the Junimo speaks for itself. That's it. Once again, I will be making 5 more videos, one for each mastery, because yes, there is that much to talk about. Y'all aren't ready for the charts. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one, and good night.